Hi, welcome to the Crypto Republic. Before we begin today, if you're serious about staying ahead in this once-in-a-lifetime financial shift, make sure you like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic. Hello, XRP Army, and welcome back to the Crypto Republic, your go-to channel for the latest high-energy updates in digital assets. Before we get started with today's business, make sure to smash that like button, ring that bell, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic, bringing you updates every day at 9 a.m., noon, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just a reminder, this video is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, something just dropped from the U.S. government that almost nobody in the crypto world is talking about. But it might be the biggest clue yet about where this entire digital asset system is going. And yes, it points straight at XRP. Because the OCC, the top banking regulator in the United States, just said something that should have sent shockwaves across the financial system, but somehow slipped under the radar. OCC Comptroller Jonathan Gould said this: crypto firms should be treated like banks when applying for federal charters. Read that again and let that sink in. Not maybe, not in the future, not if the rules change. Equal footing with banks, period. And if Ripple clears this, XRP doesn't stay just a token, ladies and gentlemen. It becomes federally recognized financial infrastructure. Before we dive in, if you enjoy this content, smash that like button, subscribe. It really helps me keep bringing these updates to you. Today, we're breaking down what this OCC decision actually means, why Ripple applied to become a federal bank charter, why banks cannot adopt blockchain without a compliant crypto bank, why a Federal Reserve master account changes everything, how this positions XRP to operate as financial infrastructure, not just a token, and an update on the map I gave everyone yesterday, because today's news changes that roadmap in a very big way. So stick around. You're not going to want to miss how this connects everything. Ladies and gentlemen, the regulatory shockwave. The OCC regulates banks. They approve national bank charters. They decide who gets access to the U.S. financial plumbing. Historically, crypto companies have been treated like outsiders, startups, risky, unregulated. But Jonathan Gould just flipped that narrative. Crypto firms should be treated like banks when applying for federal charters. This is the first time the OCC has publicly aligned crypto firms and banks under the same regulatory treatment. And the timing isn't random, because Ripple wasn't just another applicant. Ripple was one of the first crypto companies to apply for a national trust charter with the OCC. This statement is a green light, a quiet one, a technical one, but a massive one. And here's what most people don't understand. Ripple isn't trying to become a bank to replace banks. Ripple is trying to become the crypto bank that banks can't function without. Let me explain why Ripple needs a bank charter. Banks can't just jump into crypto. They can't hold tokens. They can't operate nodes. They can't custody digital assets. They can't bridge fiat to blockchain liquidity. Why? OCC compliance standards, KYC, AML structure, capital gains, auditing requirements. Their entire existence depends on being compliant. And blockchain is not compliant by default. This is the core problem. You cannot expect Bank of America, Santander, or Standard Chartered to dive directly into blockchain rails. They need a partner that is already approved, already audited, already regulated, already bank grade. This is why Ripple wants a charter. In the future financial system we're transitioning into right now, you need two banks: a fiat bank that deals with traditional money, a crypto bank that deals with tokenized value, stablecoins, CBDCs, and digital assets. Ripple wants to be two. In fact, Ripple is really building is a bank-as-a-service settlement platform where banks plug into Ripple. Ripple plugs into blockchains, and XRP moves value between both worlds. But you can't do that without the legal status of a bank. This is making sense. Hit that like button and comment below if you're holding XRP. I want to hear your thoughts. The Federal Reserve Master Account. This is where things get serious. The Federal Reserve Master Account gives a bank direct access to interbank settlement, real-time liquidity, Fed bank payment rails, FedWire, ACH, repo markets, wholesale funding, treasury liquidity. It is the heart of the U.S. financial system. If Ripple gets a national charter, they can apply for and likely receive a Fed master account. And when that happens, Ripple isn't just a company anymore. It becomes part of the U.S. financial infrastructure. And XRP, XRP stops being just a token and becomes a federally recognized settlement asset used by trust chartered institutions when Fed access. This is why the OCC ruling matters. This is why Ripple applied. This is why the timing lines up. Because a crypto settlement platform with a master account changes global liquidity itself. The most important thing I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I learned on the floor of the Mercantile Exchange that I want to convey to everybody is your conviction. That was the biggest lesson taught to me. If your conviction is not there, you shouldn't be in this space, okay? You won't be Gucci. You'll get cut up like sushi because your mind and conviction won't be there. My conviction is no different than General Patton getting the Third Army in time to win the Battle of Bulge. He was told he couldn't do it. It was impossible, but he did it anyway, okay? So when I get involved in any positions for myself or anyone that contracts me, my conviction is 100% Gucci, cannot be shaken again, right? So let's move a bit forward right now. Jerome Powell said certain things and the market went crazy. Guys, the carry trade unwinded in Japan, okay? So there's some problems right now. $1.1 trillion U.S. Treasuries is going to be pulled out of U.S. Treasuries, okay, by Japanese pension funds. That is a nightmare. They just destroyed the piggy bank of the world that every hedge fund used for the last 30 years. That $1.1 trillion in Treasuries kept your mortgage low, inflated the stock market, and a whole host of other things. They got to move the money back now because they can't hedge it. It's costing them too much money. So that has really, really let the financial world on fire. Hence his statement about 40 billion quantitative easing per month. That's not going to make up the 1.1 trillion that Japanese pension fund managers are pulling out of the market in treasuries and taking it home, okay? Now, moving right along, I want to talk about something that's very important to get on my convictions. I got my mining start because I love physical concession development in Papua New Guinea. That part of the world has a special place in my heart because that's where I got. And I always laugh because every time that we went into the jungles to do geological surveys, we would just protein. We may not come back. The botanists that were with us, they would find new organisms, new animals, but we may not come back. I mean, most people don't say, gee, I want to go on vacation to Papua New Guinea, but they got more resources in the ground. Forget about it, okay? It's unbelievable. Why I'm talking about metals, two updates. Silver. Silver's on a tear right now. Silver cracked $60 on the way to $70, in my opinion. Silver is needed for these AI facilities to build solar power to power these facilities if they're going to do it. The tonnage is massive that they need. In India, India is the second largest consumer of silver. In rural India, they consume so much silver in jewelry, so much silver in coins. It's massive. In India, the banks over there just came out with a rule that you can now monetize your silver holding. It's on a tear. China is not allowing silver to be exported anymore right now. Russia is buying silver right now to tear. You got people over in London that are freaking out. The London Bullion Market Association, they're freaking out because too many people are taking physical delivery of silver. They're calling it market manipulation. I'm just saying it's a matter of fact why commodities exchange were built in the first place, okay? Half of the world's silver comes from South America, Central America. As of that, half of it's from Mexico. So Mexico is very important right now, okay? So let that sink in. The mines are not producing enough right now for that, okay? They're just not, right? And again, I love physical, natural resource concession development, especially metals, and, because of being involved in solvent extraction, electrowining in Southeast Asia. A big thing I want everyone to pay attention to, okay? Big thing was in the news right now. America made a deal with a certain company in Brazil to do REE, rare earth elements, rare earth metal extraction. I'm not going to say the name on this right now because I don't know if I can legally do that. But America is transitioning our supply lines away from China for rare earth metals, so that we do not have to rely on them. Because I'm going to tie this in. Brazil and a company in Canada is very important right now because that company is going to become the first rare earth refinery to make magnets. They want to be a mine to magnet facility, and I've been following this, but again, I don't know if I could talk about these things on this right now. People in our whole community that I'm going to be launching very soon, that we're going to be offering, they have access to all this information. If you guys want to get access to this, you can join when this comes up. But getting back to this, we're going to basically have to do this because, look, if we have a conflict with China right now, we will run out of missiles in a week. Let that sink in. No more missiles in a week. We're done. So right now, there's two Achilles tendons that China's got. They don't see very well underwater right now. So what does that mean? We need to basically come up with a situation to make a lot more underwater submersibles to attack and submarines, okay? Japan just came up with a brand new technology for submarines using lithium batteries that makes the submarines smaller and lighter. So when they're smaller and lighter, they don't got to basically drag around as much uranium for nuclear power. What does that do? That allows them to have more space for more weapon systems that they can put in there, right? So it's pretty unbelievable. So that's why you need rare earth elements. Now, why I'm saying this and bringing this all to a tear, okay? Because, you know, when I tell you one side of the trench, the east side of the trench, the west side of the trench, right? Toys, no man's land. I love General Patton. To me, my granduncle fought with him in the Third Army, so I grew up hearing all these stories. He landed with him in Sicily, okay? My grandfather served with MacArthur, and he made every assault on every beach and every island until he was given his last rites at the bottom of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines, okay? When they was part of the Avengers of Bataan. I love these men. My conviction with these two gentlemen is supreme. That is why when I talk about things, I always have a plan. So back to Patton. Patton told Eisenhower, look, I knew that there was going to see a situation, so I came up with a plan. And he presented it to Ike, and Ike said, make it happen, okay? And Patton saved the day. He saved the 101st. We won the Battle of the Bulge. He punched through. So when I just told you all these things, I have a roadmap in my mind from the chaos that's happening around the world. Silver, rare earth metals, the conflict with China potentially happening over Taiwan, submarine technology, torpedoes, rare earth elements that we need for missiles, underwater attack vehicles like drones. We see what Ukraine's doing with drones hitting the shadow fleet with Russia. These are the economic chaoses that we can take advantage to if you have the metrics, if you've done your recce, if you've done the research, and you have the conviction. You become Gucci. You don't get cut up like sushi. And we learned last time with Jesse Livermore, as long as your position sizes are small, okay, you can ride through things and you don't get cut up like sushi, okay? You got the convictions. You got the position sizes. You got your map. And at the end of this video, we're going to put thumbnails in how I'm seeing this. So yeah, I'm going all over the place, but these are the things that I'm watching in different markets of why and how you take advantage of the chaos that happened when Japan had to recall all that money. When the pension fund manager said, you know what, that $1.1 trillion that we've been giving you guys for 30 years that everybody got rich off, we need that back right now because I'm losing money hedging, so we're going to call that back. And the chaos has rippled through the market. It's rippled. And what does that cause? That causes capital to seek out other places, other investment vehicles to make money. And if we're tracking all this, it tells a story, a plan, your research, the secret sauce, the research. That is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. What a charter unlocks. If Ripple becomes a federally chartered trust bank, they can, 1, move value without corresponding banks. No more slow SWIFT hoops. 2, collapse Nostro Vostro inefficiencies. Banks do not need to pre-fund accounts across the world. 3, custody tokenized treasuries, bonds, and corporate debt. This is where trillions will move. 4, become a neutral bridge asset in multi-currency clearing. Exactly what XRP was designed for. Plug directly into Fed payment rails. No intermediaries. 6, integrate with global liquidity corridors. This is the infrastructure play institutions aren't admitting publicly. Put simply, Ripple as a bank equals XRP as infrastructure. Not a coin, not a speculative asset, not a crypto, but plumbing. And historically, the people who own the plumbing are the ones who shape the entire ecosystem. Look at this from a historical standpoint, okay? Let's look at this from a medieval to colonial ancient history thing. This shift isn't new. Throughout history, every major economic transformation required new class of settlement institutions. Ancient times, the temple banks, trade routes expanded, gold and grain flowed across borders, but merchants didn't trust each other. So temple banks emerged, neutral parties to hold way and settle value. Ripple's positioning itself as the digital version of this medieval period. The Medicis. Kingdoms needed cross-border finance. Currencies were inconsistent. Fraud was common. The Medici Bank became the trusted intermediary. The bridge between nations. That's what a trusted charter Ripple becomes. A bridge between financial worlds. The colonial era central banks. Global trade exploded. Nations needed standardized settlement. Private banks couldn't keep up. So central banks stepped in to anchor liquidity. We are in that moment again, ladies and gentlemen. Except the new settlement layer is digital tokenized instant. And Ripple wants the charter and the places that are in that role. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes loudly. The OCC greenlights XRP as infrastructure. Let's integrate the exact OCC update. Crypto firms should be treated like banks when applying for federal charters. This one sentence justifies Ripple's entire strategy. Eliminate legal ambiguity, position XRP for settlement status, opened access for Fed rails, cleared a path for tokenized asset at scale. Institutions don't want to say it out loud, but this transforms Ripple from a cryptocurrency into a tier 1 financial entity. Meaning, XRP doesn't move like money. It performs like infrastructure. And that is the shift almost nobody sees coming. So I want to update the map right now we talked about. Everybody's got that map yesterday that I printed out. I know I talk fast, right? But again, I have to be on the phones. I got to wrap this up. Look, I want you to take out 2 silver thumbtacks. I want you to put 1 in Mexico. I want you to put 1 in India. I want you to take out a red thumbtack. I want you to put 1 in Brazil, and I want you to put 1 in Canada, okay? Then I want you to take out right now a green thumbtack. I want you to stick that into Japan, okay? Right now, we can see things moving, okay? We can see things moving. I want you to take a black thumbnail and stick that into Taiwan. These thumbnails and this map that we have is going to help you follow the story, the recce that we're building together about all the economic, geopolitical situations that we can prosper. We can prosper by doing research, the metrics, the who's, the why's, the when. Our convictions are going to be there. Our position size are going to be there. We're going to be Gucci. We're not going to get cut up like sushi, okay? And you will be able to follow the story with me, okay? With me. Today's OCC's development changes 2 major zones on that map. The regulatory timeline zone, the window for charter approval just moved forward. The tone from the OCC is no longer wait and see. It's prepare and integrate. To the liquidity zone corridor, expansion zone. Tokenized treasuries plus Fed access equals new corridors. We'll be updating expected liquidity paths, especially for USD to APAC, USD to LATAM, USD to Middle East. So your engagement, ladies and gentlemen, has helped get this information in front of more people. Thank you so much for tuning in, for liking, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts. Your support allows me to keep bringing these deep dives, high-value insights to the cryptocurrency. Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. banking system just quietly opened the door for Ripple to become exactly what it's been building towards for a decade, a federally chartered digital settlement bank. And in the world, XRP doesn't just sit in the crypto market. It sits in the machinery of global finance. Have a great day. Always stay emotionless and watch XRP closely. This could be a defining moment. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to pay attention to what's happening in the commodity markets worldwide right now because things are changing at a pandemic rate. They just are. And as I always talk about the BRICS unit that is going to basically go up against the US dollar, a lot of things are happening, okay? A lot of things are happening, and we're going to pay attention from that map. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions. Remember, the game is changing, and those who understand it first will benefit most. Make sure you're on the right side of it. You have 2 choices. You can be like the crowd, reacting after the move, rationalizing why they missed it, telling themselves they'll never let it happen again, or you can be the one who saw behind the curtain, the one who understood the infrastructure shift, the one who positioned early, not randomly, but intentionally, because some moments in history are loud, but the ones that change everything are quiet, right up until the moment they're not. And this is one of those moments. Do not blink, because the world is distracting you with noise, while XRP continues developing behind the scenes and building momentum in the broader digital asset landscape. Stay sharp, stay informed, accumulate knowledge. Your move now will be remembered. This is not the end of the story. This is just the beginning. This opened your eyes. Smash that like button, ring the bell, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Turn on notifications, and most importantly, subscribe to the Crypto Republic. We break down the major global banking trends shaping digital assets today, giving you context, clarity, and research you can use. Don't just watch history happen. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay in the Republic.